The Miami Dolphins just got an absolute gift from their rival, New England Patriots. I'm Nic Rohloff. This is Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. You might be wondering how and why would the Patriots give the Dolphins a gift? Well, the gift is in the form of a release. The New England Patriots released their veteran and projected starting safety, Jabrill Peppers, earlier today. He has $4.32 million guaranteed on his contract, so they saved some money. But over the last 3 seasons, he has been a primary starter for them, and he, in fact, was actually one of their defensive captains. This is quite the stunner. I really didn't comprehend why the Patriots released him. And I've tried to wrap my head around it prior to filming this video, and the truth is, I still haven't. This is a very capable and solid player that the Patriots released and is now available on the free agency market. And this is not just a gift because the Patriots lose a good player in their secondary. It's one that Miami may be able to sign to their respective roster and make their secondary even better. Which is why I want to get your quick thoughts on the matter before I give you mine. Do you have interest in potentially signing Jabrill Peppers? Type Y for yes or type N for no. I certainly do. Dolphin him. First of all, Jabrill Peppers would have unlimited aura in the aqua and orange, but this is also a move that would make this Dolphins defense and roster infinitely better. I think you have a fine safety room now with Minkah Fitzpatrick. Ashton Davis is recovering nicely and should be ready to go sooner rather than later. And I like Iafetu Malafanu as safety number 3. But Dante Trader Jr., your 5th-round rookie, has not been able to stay healthy in the first couple months of this July and August. And Elijah Campbell is a solid special teams guy. But I can't imagine another safety being available on the free agent market that would fit as well as Peppers would in this Anthony Weaver defensive scheme. And I really believe that Peppers would thrive in this Anthony Weaver scheme because Weaver likes versatility. He likes to move his safeties around in the box, the nickel, having up top as the free safety roaming around. And Peppers does all of that at an extremely high level. I mean, you look at Jabrill Peppers' career alignment in the National Football League, he is as versatile as a defensive back as you can find. He has played the primary amount of his snaps at free safety, 1,800. But he's basically played the same amount of snaps, only 44 less in the box. So he's one of those physical safeties that plays the run extremely well. But he can also cover, and he plays the slot 902 times in his career and has actually lined up on the defensive line as an outside pass rusher 421 times. Oh, and guess what? Not that I would have him do it in Miami, but he's played outside corner 253 times. There just simply isn't a defensive back in the National Football League that has been more of a Swiss Army knife than him. I think you could argue he still is a top 5 Swiss Army knife in football. The number 1, in my opinion, is probably Kyle Hamilton, but Peppers, I think, is still in there. And if you look at his career stats with New England over the last 3 seasons, where he has appeared in 38 games, he put up unbelievably good numbers, both being a stopper in the run game, a nice back-end safety to limit big plays, but also turning opponents over. 5 forced turnovers, which is pretty solid. And if you go back to his second year in New England, not his first, not his third, his second, which was 2023, he was elite. He was a top 10 safety in the National Football League, which earned him a multi-year contract extension with the New England Patriots because he was signed to a cheap deal, gets an extension after that elite 2023 year. And if you look at his ranks on Pro Football Focus amongst the 63 qualified safeties to play at least 50% of the snaps as the leading snap getter at the safety position, he was 5th in PFF grade, 2nd in run defense grade, which is something that would be very welcomed in Miami with how our safeties performed last year, 9th in coverage grade, and speaking of coverage, 7th in completion percentage when targeted, and 7th in QB rating when targeted. Without a question, there was no debating it. The last time he played a full season in the NFL, 2023, he was a top 10 safety in football. And I'll tell you what, folks, if the Dolphins make a signing, whether it is Jabrill Peppers or a different player even to the practice squad, we will have you covered breaking down every move the Dolphins make. So subscribe today for daily coverage of the Miami Dolphins. Now, you might have caught something I said just a moment ago about Peppers playing a full season in 2023, but not in 2024. Well, he did not play the entire season a year ago. Why is that? Well, if you remember, he was actually placed on the commissioner's list, which means you are not eligible to play, after an arrest for cocaine possession. But that wasn't all he was arrested on. The original charge, according to reports at the time in October of 2024, was assault and battery with a dangerous weapon, strangulation, and possession of a Class B substance believed to be cocaine. That cost him the remainder of the 2024 season. But he was acquitted in January of 2025 and was anticipated to be ready to roll for the Patriots this season as a starter and potential leader. And many people wondered, with this surprise release coming out of the blue, is it off the field or legal related? Well, every single Patriots reporter that I went and tried to find this information on said that is not the case, including Mike Giardi, who I wanted to show his, says there is no off-field issues with Peppers that led to the release. He dealt with legal issues a year ago, but he's off the commissioner's list, and this release is purely from a football standpoint. Maybe it could be labeled as a financial one, but the Patriots also have the most cap space in football with $60 million. So I have a hard time believing it is financially motivated. This is a pure football move by New England, which is why it doesn't make sense even more. And we'll have more on Peppers here in a second. But get started with PrizePicks today, the daily fantasy sports platform I am on every single day. And with football season officially here, I am so fired up. Whether it's college football or our professional football that starts in a week, I am playing because it's so easy. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. If you get your picks right, you could cash in and win up to 2,000 times your money. PrizePicks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. Double your money, even if one of your picks does not hit. Millions of players play PrizePicks every day, including me. And I do have an entry for college football week 1, including one in a game today between Georgia Tech and Colorado. I'm taking the less on their Georgia Tech quarterback, Haynes King, passing yards. I think he runs it a lot. And I do also think Georgia Tech wins. Oh, less than Arch Manning passing touchdowns. Think he runs one and throws one rather than throwing 2. And I'll go more than Deshaun Bishop rushing yards, 61.5 for this Tennessee Volunteer running back. 3-player entry there. Get started today. Download the PrizePicks app and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. So in this video, I've spoken very highly about Jabrill Peppers, mentioned that his release had to do nothing off the field or legal related, and it's likely not financially related. So you might ask, why is he released? Reporters are speculating it was a pure scheme fit decision by the Patriots brass, and that Jabrill Peppers over the past couple weeks was running with the 2s in practice. And I looked more into it. Apparently the new Patriots defense wants to put a lot of emphasis on their safeties defending in man coverage rather than being a roaming free safety on the back end, and they're putting less of a importance on physicality from their safeties and ability to stop the run and playing in the box a little bit, which I guess remains consistent with what they're doing because now Peppers has been released, who is that same mold of safety we just described. And that same mold of safety is also Kyle Duggar, a player that they are actively trying to trade right now. So I guess that is the case here. But to me, this is a gift because Jabrill Peppers maybe isn't a good scheme fit, which doesn't make sense to me because I think he could fit in any scheme. But he's a good player. And him just leaving a division rival, thumbs up for me. I'm very excited about that. And I would love for Miami to add him, if you couldn't tell based on how I've talked about him in this video. And I also want to kind of rebuff what the Patriots might be thinking in terms of him not being able to cover. Because despite not playing the full season, only playing about the first month and a half, he did still have 208 coverage snaps. He only allowed 10 targets. only allowed 7 completions on him. So, I mean, I guess 70% completion percentage is great, but only being targeted 10 times is great. And in those 7 completions, just allowed 6.3 yards per catch. No touchdowns while forcing an interception and a PBU, but also having a QB rating when targeted of 39.2. So, like, if you are concerned about his ability to cover, okay, if that's the scheme you're going with, but he had good coverage stats last year and the year prior when he was top 10. So I really don't get it. And hey, if the New England Patriots want to be an incompetent organization at times, that's fine by me. I just don't get it. And if you're asking me about bringing him in, I'm doing it without hesitation. But you also might bring up, okay, what safety are you getting rid of? I would be maybe fine getting rid of an Elijah Campbell, although I like his special teams value. I think you could put Peppers on special teams if you wanted to, or even put Ifeatu Melifonwu on special teams. But I'm also fine with keeping 6 safeties because Melifonwu and Elijah Campbell, or excuse me, let me rephrase that. Ashton Davis and Ifeatu Melifonwu have injury history, and Minkah Fitzpatrick is getting up there in age. So having more depth there would not be that concerning to me. So if there's a player on the roster that I would cut, no-brainer to add Peppers to the roster, it would be Keon Smith. You currently have 9 offensive linemen. I'm fine keeping 9, but Keon Smith is not good. And you could keep him on the practice squad if you wanted to and just move off of someone on the P squad that's currently there right now. Once you signed Kendall Lamb to the 53-man roster, I felt much more stable about the depth at offensive line. I didn't like it after the preseason. But Kendall Lamb is a solid swing tackle and would be my top tackle behind Paul and Austin Jackson, Larry Bourne being that second tackle. You have Daniel Brunskill to help on the interior, but you also have Liam Eichenberg and Andrew Meyer hopefully returning before week 7 or week 8. And if you don't have a massive injury to your interior offensive line in the first month of the season, which you pray to God you don't, well, then you're probably in a good spot with depth and you can get rid of Keon Smith for a guy like Jabrill Peppers. We're going to round out the show with some other Dolphins news. Miami Dolphins coach was arrested. Yes, you are hearing that correctly. It is outside linebackers coach Ryan Crow. Cameron Wolfe had the initial report on Friday morning saying that he was arrested in Fort Lauderdale on a domestic battery charge. The Dolphins immediately placed him on administrative leave. Some more information coming in from Andy Slater here, saying that he was about to perform a takedown after shoving a family member to the ground. Witnesses also said that the victim's feet were off the ground, and Crow had his arms around the person. The victim refused to give cops a sworn statement. The victim, allegedly, is a female. So I just wanted to provide all the details here in this report. I'm not giving any opinions. We're going to let the legal process play out, but I wanted to share this information as it does relate to the Dolphins, as their offensive line or the outside linebacker coach is gone from the team right now. The Miami Dolphins did release a statement on the situation saying that they are aware of the serious matter involving Ryan Crow and currently gathering more information. Ryan has been placed on administrative leave effective immediately. We have been in communication with the NFL and reserve further comment at this time. Like I mentioned, not any opinions here. We are going to let the legal process play out, let more information come to the light. But I do want to let you know we will continue to monitor the situation and update you on any further updates with the story, on if he is never returning to the Dolphins organization, if he is going to return to the Dolphins, and everything in between. And this is why you subscribe to the channel, whether it is talking about football decisions or legal situations that happen to affect the Dolphins. We will have you covered with everything you need to know. So hit that sub button, and I'll see you with a video tomorrow. Go Fins.